episode number 30, featuring Jason. And Jason has been doing Kundalini sadhana since 4 months. That is, he is in. You're in Panchamukhi Hanuman, right?
That's right. Yeah. Oh no, actually, no, in Batok Paravine. Oh, wait, actually.
Oh, you're in Batuk Bhairav. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he has been doing since 2 months. That is Uchishta Ganapati and Tripura Bhairavi, and now he's in Batuk Bhairav, and he's
Yeah.
moving on to Kamakala
Ukrainian
Kali.
TV. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, okay. So can you let us know your experience of these 3 months, and also can you let us know which event in life triggered you to this path of spirituality?
Of course. Yeah. Happy to share. First of all, I must say just thank you to you actually for your generosity, of your knowledge, of your time and energy in sharing this like really precious and beautiful teachings to us, with us actually. And I think without you and people like you, these a lot of this knowledge will remain and has remained hidden from the vast majority of humanity. So yeah, like you have a lot of my gratitude. Another thing that I really want to thank you for is to create this community. The fact that we are able to have this conversation today is already quite a spiritual boon for us personally. And I think before I come across you, and 1 or 2 years prior, actually, I found myself in a meditation quite quietly, just praying to the divine, setting out an intention that one day I'll find a spiritual community, I'll find a guru, someone who can guide me on my way, um, and show me about all the mysteries, and at least point me or signpost me to the right path and the right direction, and then in the 2 to 3 years that followed, a lot of things happened. Some very, very challenging, but some other also very fortuitous, like coming across your YouTube channels and getting to know you. So having this kind of conversation and sharing with people in this community about this very, very intricate and very personal experiences that are usually, it's like in the hidden side of the human culture, isn't it? Is actually very, uh, I count it as huge blessings. Um, to your question about what prompted me to uh, get onto this path, well, I must say I come across your YouTube channel in May, and that's when I started doing this tantric mantra. And but even before then, like for 2 or 3 years, I could say I've started the most intense or maybe most genuine spiritual phase of my life. Although I've always had a strong spiritual inclination since I was a child. Remember since I was a kid, studying in my primary school, which was a Catholic school, I would skip out of my morning sports sessions, like where all my friends would be playing football, and I would just step into the chapel for no reason. And and I'm 40, so 41 actually this year. So back in the late 80s, like we didn't have internet, so I would go into the chapels to copy some of those prayers so that I can keep it at home, and I would sort of just recite them and chant them um, by myself back at home, just to get involved in that loving feelings towards the divine. So it's quite interesting that like 30 odd years later, I come across this practice and find the chanting itself to be a great um, medium for me to connect with these higher forces. But about 4 years ago, I had quite a sort of life changing experience. First, I had the death of my grandmother, and she was like a mother to me. Actually, like she raised me, and and somehow that really awakened something within me. Like I felt like for the first time I could live for myself, and then within a year, I contracted COVID, and it was very, very severe form of COVID. I think it was probably the first variant at the time, and it was before the time of all the vaccines and any hope or promise of a cure. And I was in a fever for 23, 24 days. It was extremely scary. And since then, I've had a couple of other health scare. I was told that I had a genetical heart problem, which I supposedly could never resolve. So a lot of these things has suddenly jolted my whole existence into a new level of awakening, whereby I started to question what is this all about, right? Why was I here? Why am I pushed into facing all these challenges? And now I must find a way to not just heal myself, but find a higher truth in order to well, like when you are pushed into, I suppose, a corner in life, when you feel anxious and scared for your life, I think like the pressure could either collapse you or force you to evolve. And fortunately, I think I took a turn for the latter, and I started to really find genuine spirituality. Um, I think fortunately, I had a really strong belief already that nothing, the universe is not just a dead space with uh, physical forces, but it's a conscious space with all possibilities. So I started seeking all manners of spiritual teachings and teachers, and and I think sort of like quite soon into that journey, about a year or so, I started to stumble upon Sanatam Dharma and the Vedic teachings, mainly through Sri Aurobindo's teaching, actually. And that's when I began to ponder on or come across the idea of a divine mother. And and I took on this sadhana practice that's mainly about surrendering to her, actually. And I think, and interestingly, within a year, what happened is one day I went on YouTube and looked for some new inspiration and teaching, and I come across one of your videos about the Mahavidyas. I was like, what is this? Why do you talk about these like deities and goddesses, which at the time was still extremely foreign to me, because the idea of divine mother at the time was still this conscious abstract force, actually, that I know exists, but I have no phase of her. No, there wasn't a name for her, but as I started to listen to your teaching, I realized actually these actual living beings that are much more conscious, much vaster, much more multidimensional than we are, but it's also something that we can establish through our own devotion connections with. So and I started in May, I think late May. I remember I was in France. I was actually visiting the monastery of Saint Mary Magdalene at the time. It was like a little pilgrimage with my wife, and I was doing the Nama mantra that you were teaching. You were going through that whole series where you were demonstrating your personal connection with each of the deity. So it took me like 3-4 hours to hike up that hill to find a monastery, and I just chanted them. I just chanted them, like with the intention that, what, by the end of the hike, when I reach the monastery and meet the symbol of devotion, right, Mary Magdalene, the supposed uh, partner of Jesus Christ, I would learn about devotions, and and it so happened that by the end of that whole track, I chanted the whole like 18 mantra of one mala each, and I had this like massive heart opening experience, understanding of, for the first time, having a glimpse of the fact of what it means to understand that we are not the doer of our lives. There's all these forces that's actually creating and manifesting. I remember had a moment like as I was looking around and see every blade of grass as being shimmering with life and with divine forces, and they are perhaps just a manifestation of Chupro Bharati Devi. And looking up the sky, seeing all this space, and realize that it is Shiva, like and creating this force of light, like Shoulder Sheik, sort of coming down and enveloping and inhabiting every living being. So it was extraordinary, right? And since I started the Bija Mantra journey, I think this experience just intensified. And sometimes I would meditate, and I would have this spontaneous, energetic experience just coming through my body, and I know that something much more alive than the life as I knew it was actually streaming themselves through me. So yeah, I hope that kind of start answering some of these questions that you were
Yeah.
posing about my personal experiences. But it's been a very very kind of profound experience, and not no 2 days were the same. And
Mm,
yeah, I would love to share a bit more about any of this
mm.
with people who are interested in listening to me.
Yeah. In the monastery, Jesus might be thinking, what mantra is he chanting?
It was
So,
like, yeah, well, that's the thing, right? Like, growing up as a Catholic,
mm,
and
mm,
then in my own 20s, like, starting exploring sideway into other spiritual
mm,
traditions, first accessing Buddhism, and then some Taoist tradition before I went on to
mm,
more Hindu traditions. I had to overcome the personal journeys of that kind of division that was uniquely human, but suppose
mm,
like not really that divine, actually, right? I think it's one
mm,
of your teaching that says, I remember, you probably don't remember because you receive so many questions every day, but in the early
mm,
days of our group, I remember asking you, what if I keep getting this strange feelings of guilt that if I chant to uh, Ujjisa Ganapati, then another deity would get jealous, or or that Jesus would get angry with me. And you said, well, these deities,
uh,
they're not like you.
mm,
They probably find this human love like a little bit primitive, but very cute. So love them anyway. Love them anyway. And that really helped me actually went beyond that, or that very
mm,
kind of
yeah.
divisive human mind thinking about,
Mm,
if I chant this, then the Christ is going to
mm,
be a little bit like upset with me. Uh,
yeah. The thing is, Jesus, Allah, Krishna, they all belong to the Anahata Chakra, right? So what they represent is they represent the unconditional love, like of a mother and son, of a father and a daughter, or father and son, and all that. The one which is devoid of any lust. So that's what they represent, the purity in the love, the sattvic form of love. And yeah, the thing is, the astral planets, right? They have that enlightened beings who are like Jesus and who's that? Krishna, Yogananda,
mm,
um, Vivekananda, and in but the realm of the deities like Kali, Subramanya, and Ganapati, those are like different realm altogether. There is Janaloka, that's a different planet altogether, which is more advanced than, like, the human mind cannot comprehend the uh, things
mm,
going on in those Janaloka, and that the causal realm basically. Um, the astral realm is a bit more what to say, understandable for humans, because it's made up of all those enlightened beings who are as close as to um, Aurobindo. So if we can understand Aurobindo's teaching, if we can understand Yogananda's teaching, we may also be able to understand what is going on in those planets. What are they up to? But to understand the realm of deities, it's very difficult. That is, it is very advanced thing. That is, they are beyond the space time. Uh,
mm.
Time is very slow in their planets. Yeah, and so yeah, which deity connected with you the most among the three?
And the three that I've chanted with,
Yeah.
uh, um, it's very interesting actually, because I knew so little of any of the three that I've chanted for so far. Actually, Ujjisa Ganapati, I only came across for the first time when you introduced him. Uh,
Mm,
in the past, when I look at every time I looked at an icon of Ganapati or
mm,
Ganesha, I would find it a little bit funny, to be honest. I was like, okay, what is this? This is a obviously I've come across him, but that's about it. I really don't know any more about it. And Tribhuvan Bharavi, I I instinctively find quite endearing, actually, because there's something about her that represents the mother of all life.
mm,
She's which is the deity of the Kundalini. But at the same time, I also know that that's just a very superficial understanding of her. It's probably just how I perceive her through my limited human understanding. When I actually see her, if I do, it will be it will be absolutely mind blowing, I'm sure. So,
mm,
but I do find the whole experience in my chanting for Batuk Baraf
mm,
very special because for a reason I can't quite articulate yet or explain, it is I think it's probably about 10 to 12 days into my
mm,
chanting my daily mantra
mm,
uh, for Batuk Baraf. I start having these spontaneous experience of going into a slightly timeless space, or I
mm,
would have very strange activation of energy coming through the lower part of my body, and
mm,
the image I got is like when if you push a beach ball down into the pool,
mm.
and the moment you let go, the ball just bounces back up, right? It's
Yeah.
it, for a few times I felt like this. There was just like massive balls and bubbles of energy that was just
Mm,
rising through my
mm,
through my torso into my head, and then when it reaches up there, I would just have this moment when I just lose a sense of space and time. So uh, to me, that's very special because I've done a lot of meditation in the past, but I can't in the last 20 years, but I can't say I've had any experience like this. I also practiced a little bit of Chinese Qigong, which is
mm,
explicitly about the cultivation and circulation of Qi, of prana, but I haven't had experiences like this either.
mm,
So, so this is very special. Um, but I've also found the pairing between um, I haven't tried the bija mantra of Krishna and Kali yet, but I would sometimes just add a bija akshara
mm,
to, just like you taught, right, to the nama mantra. For example, chanting Om Klim Krishna Namaha or Om Klim Mahamaya Kali Namaha, like
mm,
Maha Kali Kai Namaha.
mm,
And I've done some of that, and I've found the pairing between the Krishna consciousness, knowing that he is someone who reaches down with the exact kind of love that
mm,
I would need, and understand how and what love in what situation that will require, and the forces of Kali coming through in response to him that pushes me in exactly the right way,
mm,
and protecting me, nourishing me, nurturing me in exactly the right way. And when I thought about how these forces has been keeping me and
mm,
encouraging my evolution since
mm,
time immemorial, I find it extremely touching. So I have a feeling maybe it could be either Krishna or Kali. I haven't actually gone
mm,
into the Sadhana month for those two yet, but
mm.
I have a strong intuition that it might be one of those two.
Yeah, but the thing is, Anahata month, it is the mantra is more powerful than those Klim Krishna Anama, Krim Mahakalika Anama. It has lot of Bijaksharas. The Anahata month is full of Bijaksharas, and it'll be very powerful month because it will open up so many dimensions of the Anahata. That is Kali representing the protection, and Bhuvaneshwari, the unconditional love, Krishna, the smart kind of love, and Dhumavati, the love where we experience sadness and depression, and Baglamukhi, the again the protective layer. So we're going to explore a lot of dimensions of the same love, and
Mm,
it'll be interesting. Anahata month is the most interesting out of all, I feel, because that's where most of the people. Guys, Kundalini gets awakened, and I think the
mm.
according to the experience you told just now, I think you have almost awakened the Kundalini. You told that it came till here, right? Till the
Yeah, all the way up
Sahasrara.
to maybe the Ajna or the
Uh,
Sahasrara chakra. What is it actually? Could you relate
mm.
to any of those experiences in your early days or?
Yeah.
Are they common, or are they just very unique between individuals?
Usually, it doesn't happen so fast. It happens during the Anahata month for most of the people. But you, you have experienced it faster than usual, I guess. That is, what happens is basically a Kundalini sadhana means you're fooling the Kundalini, thinking that uh, it is expiring. That is, for example, um, during sleep, right? During sleep, what happens is uh, the consciousness pulls the kundalini, telling that it is no more. That is basically, or it is Shiva. So the consciousness is pulling the witness consciousness, pulling the kundalini, telling it's Shiva. It's not the manifested conscious. So it goes to the vibrationless consciousness. The kundalini, when it goes near the home, right, near the home screen, uh,
Mm,
it passes through the astral and causal realm, due to which we get those dreams. That is the astral dreams, causal dreams of death. Sometimes we remember the past lives. Like the causal dreams are like the ones when we remember our last second of death. We try to come out of the dream. Oh, I don't want to experience it. So what it means is that was the last second of our death in the past life. We might have been some animal. We might have been some bird or humans or whatever. But we remember only the last second of death, and that is what a causal dream is. Whereas astral dreams are more like lucid dreaming. That is, you are able to explore the different
mm,
places in the astral realm. And when we come back to this, when we open our eyes, we see the physical realm. So that is how it works. And
right,
even
right.
during meditation, it's the same. That is, uh, during sleep, it happens to tiredness. That is, you're tired, you're very tired, and the consciousness pulls the kundalini by lowering the vibration. So we are going
Mm,
to the Shiva state by lowering the vibration. Whereas during meditation, it is called as Turiya state. That is, you are increasing the vibration for that click out phenomena to happen, and uh,
like
you are going
samadhi.
to,
Oh,
yeah, with awareness. That is, you are going to the astral and causal with awareness. But the thing is, every time the kundalini has to be fooled. That is, it is no more. It is no more in the physical. It is no more in the physical. So
mm.
even when we take drugs like LSD, DMT, psychedelics, same thing happens. The kundalini is fooled that it is no more in the physical realm.
Yeah,
Chakra. So starts experiencing astral and physical, where astral and causal, uh, where you told, right, it everything vanishes away. So that's what happens. Everything vanishes away.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Interesting, actually. I have two questions from what you were
Mm,
just talking about.
mm,
Can you tell me a bit more about what causal dreams actually means? You said something about it was the dream of the memories of the last moments before death in previous or in parallel lives. Uh,
mm,
the second question is around the vibrational state, you know, and how we need to access that to fool the kundalini to awaken. Uh,
mm,
so is that why we in our meditation we always try to connect with the shunya, with the emptiness state, because
mm,
in that emptiness that the mind would be fooled into thinking that it is approaching death,
mm,
and that's when the kundalini would start to rise upward. But what to begin with, what's the cause? What are causal dreams actually? Because the way you're describing it sounds like causal dream is a particular class of experience. Astral dream is a
mm,
class of experience, and when you open your eyes, and because this is just a created construct, right? I suppose physical life could also be talked about as a physical dream. Right? I don't know if that's
mm.
apt. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. This is also basically a dream itself.
yeah.
Physical dream is no different from astral or causal. And the reason we experience nightmares in the causal dream is because we fear death. That is, every human fears death a lot, because every human thinks that this is the physical dream is the ultimate dream. That is the
Yeah.
most uh, faultiest fact that human beings have been telling themselves, that physical dream is the ultimate. Physical dream is not the ultimate. There are a lot of you exist in a lot of dreams, and physical dream is just one of them. And that is why you have to never fear death. So when once the fear of death goes away, we will be able to see all our lives like in a movie manner. That is, in the causal realm, you can see all your lives. The causal, your causal body has the memory of all the lives that you lived in on earth. Like all the 84 lakh incarnations that you had on earth has is imprinted in that causal body. So I tell, right, high mind, the garbhodaksha vishnu. So that high mind has the memory of all the lives we have had. The reason we are not able to connect with the high mind is because of the fear of death. Once we lose that fear of death, the fear of death in the sense the attachment to the character, that is Aditya, but the consciousness is very much attached to the character Aditya, Jason, and all, because it doesn't want to lose the character. Once we are not afraid of losing the character, we can go to the causal realm and experience all our lives again and again. Whenever we want, we can see how we died in the previous, what happened. All the memory is stored. No memory is lost.
Mm,
And
mm,
but the astral realm is different. That is, it is more of enjoying. So astral realm is like a lobby of the game. Like in
mm.
PUBG, they people hit each other. Right? We before falling in the battle ground, we will be hitting each other just simply for fun, and so that's what astral realm. It's like a lobby of the game. Before, this is like the playground. Physical realm is like the playground, and astral is like the lobby where where no one dies. In the astral, no one dies. Like
Oh,
even if
by
you
lobby you mean like the home screen kind of thing? It's just like you go back to the
huh,
setting page of the game or something.
lobby is like, okay, only PUBG players can get this, I guess. The
Yeah,
lobby.
yeah. I haven't played PUBG.
Okay. Yeah. Does anyone know better example?
Oh,
Yeah.
so
So,
is it like, a little bit like when you use your smartphone? Like you go into the apps, and the apps would be like physical RAM. But when you go back to the screen where you choose between different apps, like the home screen, is that would that
home
be the
screen
astral
is
RAM?
more of like the causal and
Causal RAM. Okay,
Shiva, but
okay.
astral is like uh, yeah, better than, I don't know, better than PUBG, which is a good example.
I think I have to play PUBG just for this reason, just to understand this teaching. Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah, yeah.
it's the realm where you don't die. That is, you have fun. That is, you punch people, you love people, you do whatever.
Oh,
Nothing
oh,
happens.
oh. Maybe it's like the bonus round kind of thing, like the lobby where you're just playing around before you actually enter the actual
Uh,
game. Is that right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it. I got it. Maybe,
yeah.
yeah. But but
Yeah,
up there you have infinite life. You can just take any risk you want and manifest
yeah,
anything you want. Yeah.
yeah. It's like Counter Strike. Before Counter Strike starts, we have that few minutes of playing around, right? Like 3 minutes. Uh, like we play around, but nothing happens to us. We can't be shot. That is, even if someone shoots us, nothing happens.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think I
Yeah,
get the idea. I think I get
yeah,
the idea. That's interesting, actually. Um, so yeah, that's because like causal dream, the causal body is supposed to be ananda maya kosha, right? Isn't it?
mm,
Is there
yeah,
like by the sound of it, it's supposed to be very blissful, very very infinite. But I guess if we as a human being with even just a tiny strand of attachment to our ego or to our life,
mm,
going up there is going to be extremely terrifying, isn't it? Because we will feel
true.
like we're just going to be annihilated completely, and is that why we are so like bound to this? Um,
Yeah. Exactly. It is Anandamaya Kosha where the fear of death is completely gone away. There's no speck of fear left inside the consciousness. See, even when you stay in the physical, you can activate the Anandamaya Kosha now also in the physical itself. Like you just have to forget about all your worries. Let's say it might be something related to the emotion, family, friends, relatives, or society, or it may be related to finance, or all the worries that we have, right? That belongs to the physical. If we forget all those worries for at least like uh, 25-30 seconds, we'll be able to experience Anandamaya Kosha. It just
Right.
requires that one tap of like telling you that you are just living in a dream, so forget about all your worries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And and how do you? What kind of practice do you go through in order to get that very pristine touch of the Anandamaya kosha for 30 seconds? Actually, obviously, you
Uh,
chant. The idea is that you do this mantra and you invoke the help of the deities. Uh,
mm,
what about in more traditional Kriya path or in meditation? Like what? How are
mm,
people accessing these moments actually? Because what I know
mm,
is why when you're in your waking consciousness, it's extremely difficult, if not impossible, to completely suspend the ego. I,
mm,
so I've just spoken to a friend uh, who's kind of very long term partner who had been a very I think serious practitioner of Buddhist meditation for 40, 50 years actually, um, and and he just passed away. And she was sharing some experience of how in his last days, even though he was such a strong practitioner, there was quite a lot of like unfinished business coming up and a lot of sort of distress. And and I do wonder, like as a human being within your lifetime, what do you really have to do in order to access those uh, like moments of consciousness and where you're so free of the ego. Actually, what do? You know, if unless you're taking drugs or doing the ayahuasca and DMT and
yeah. No, I didn't do any of those. But
yeah, yeah, I know you
the thing
did.
is,
Yeah,
so in order to access, but I have tried marijuana though. Marijuana doesn't unlock Anandamaya Kosha that much, but to
yeah,
really unlock Anandamaya Kosha, you have to be very aware. Like we can't be slow like how, on weed, right? We'll be in a slow manner. We can't be in that state of
mm,
non-awareness. We have to be very much aware to unlock Anandamaya Kosha, and to
yeah,
with
yeah.
awareness
Right.
we have to also uh, be able to let go, that is let go of our ego. So how to let go of our ego? Maybe some beautiful song, like the best for me, the Anandamaya Kosha got unlocked was when I first heard Haristotram. That is there is a song called I'll just show it. I'll not play the song because copyright.
Yeah, yeah.
Haristotram.
Copyright issue. Aristotle.
Yeah, so this is the song. It's called
Right.
as Hari Stotram.
Okay. Okay.
I'll decrease the brightness. Wait. Yeah,
Oh,
this one.
interesting. Oh, see.
Yeah,
All right. 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 Okay.
yeah.
Aristotle.
Hari Stotram by Sri Hari Stotram by Agam Agarwal. So what I was doing is I was listening to Yogananda's chapter 43 in while I was working in my college cafeteria, and after I realized it is a dream, I just listened to that Haristotram, and that got unlocked. That the whole Anandamaya Kosha got unlocked, and I felt like everything is a dream. Why am I even
In the
caring about?
cafeteria.
Yeah, like while coming back home, right? I was cycling and I was cycling. Then when I was hearing Sri Aristotram, I just threw that cycle away. I was dancing on the streets because I realized all the worries that I'm having is completely crap. So I just
Right.
danced on the street, and uh, it felt like I don't have anyone. I don't have mother. I don't have father. I don't have friends. Nothing. There's no one. It's all fake.
Wow. Wow. So
Yeah.
so suddenly, like in that moment, all of the
Mm,
power that all phenomenal existence had over you until that moment was
mm.
suddenly gone or temporarily gone. Mm. So no
Yeah.
thoughts or no ideas, no attachment had any more hold on you, and you realize it sounds like you had just had a pure ecstatic moment.
Yeah, like almost for 1 hour, I was that, and it was like 2 a.m. in the morning, and it was snowing, and it was like I was cycling back home, and no one was there around me, and it felt like uh, it was really blissful, and I can't even like I can remember those moments. It was of pure joy, but I can never completely transfer that joy to like share those experiences to other human. It was the time when there was no worry in my consciousness. So worry is the thing that spoils the experience of
Mm,
all the
mm.
dreams. Worrying.
Right, right. Yeah, I guess with that I can relate a little bit actually. Like if
Mm,
you have dropped a seed of worry into dream, it's like you drop a little bit of like just dirt into a
mm,
clear pool of water. You just spoil it. And
true.
so you talk about this super awareness. You have to be very very aware in order to
Mm,
access the Ananda Maya Kosha. Um,
mm,
is that what you're talking about? I suppose like that's the reason why when you're on drugs or when not you but when people are on drugs or
mm,
smoking marijuana, they can't really access these things because I think it has an effect of doubling your
mm.
consciousness. Am I right? Like rather than
Yeah.
clarifying it or upgrading
Mm.
it.
True. The thing about drugs, right? What happens is it expands our consciousness to receive other frequency, but our consciousness, the left side of our brain, right? That is the Shiva Tattva. It won't be prepared enough to receive those. There are
Okay.
two lobes, right? Right lobe and left lobe. So the right lobe expands, that is, it receives all the frequencies, but the left lobe won't be there to protect the consciousness. So the Shiva Tattva protects our
Mm,
wherever we are. For example, currently now we are in the physical realm. The reason we are sane, that is, we are not insane. The reason we are sane is because our left hemisphere is uh, is like analyzing all the frequencies received by the right, that is the five sensory input, and it is like constructing a like a storyline. It's constructing a sensible, logical storyline. So, and that's why we are like sane now. Now we are sane.
mm,
But
mm.
when doing drugs, what happens is the left lobe is not prepared to
Yeah.
logically understand the frequencies, but the right lobe is receiving all the frequencies. It's like
Mm,
bringing in the astral frequency, causal frequency, and we are not ready for it. And that's why we don't remember any of those experiences because the left lobe is not prepared. Only when we meditate, right? What happens is both right and left lobe they synchronize and they prepare each other for receiving and logically analyzing. The
mm.
frequencies of astral and causal. That's why meditation is better than uh, drugs because the left lobe is prepared basically.
Right, right. So, so another way to say it might be the way I'm hearing it is you need to not just develop the energy or the content of what you're able to perceive, but also the container of what's
Mm,
perceiving it. Is that right? So if
mm,
there's a misfit between the content and the container, then you
mm,
could get fried or
mm,
screwed by that. But yeah, I suppose that's why, like in a lot of spiritual tradition, you have people like devoting their whole life into doing like silent meditation, cultivating just stillness. like the
mm,
Shiva sadhana
mm,
type of practices. Um, or maybe that's also why you're mixing the Shiva tattva into the Shakti
mm,
ones. Um, okay, yeah. So that's useful actually, because you do have a lot of people talking about
mm,
how they misuse or they go underprepared into these psychedelic journey, or maybe even doing too much mantra sadhana and go a bit mad,
mm,
um, or they have an accidental Kundalini awakening
mm.
and literally don't know what to do about it. Yeah. Um,
Exactly. The example was really good. The one which you told, container and the content. Yeah. So the Shiva sadhana, the Shunya sadhana is like expanding our container, and it's
mm,
preparing for the water to come in. That is the content to come in. And Shakti sadhana is like it is expanding the right hemisphere frequencies. That is, it is inviting all the frequencies to come in, the Shakti sadhana. And Shiva sadhana is like preparing its container to receive those frequencies.
yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah.
So to that, I have this question now. Like, what's the value of practicing like some Shiva sadhana or just pure silent meditation,
Mm,
cultivating stillness uh, alongside the devotional practice and and the um, the Shakti mantras chanting?
mm,
Would you advise like your student to actually spend time
mm,
cultivating that the container side of the capacity in order to fully develop in a more balanced way? Or would you say the mantra sadhana actually have in themselves, or, for example, especially when you're chanting the Shiva tattva, are
mm.
you going to be influenced by but it's the idea that you open yourself to the influence of the Shiva principle in the universe and actually allow for that capacity to also naturally develop in the process.
Yeah, the container you're talking about, Shunya sadhana, which Sadguru teaches, that is complete silence with no mantra, no yantra, no tantra, nothing, no, just pure silence. So
Mm,
that is like you're preparing the last container, which is above the Sahasrara. So
mm,
uh, that is like the container which does not have any chakras itself. So that container does not have chakras. But to go to that silent state, first we have to prepare the lower containers like Ganapati,
oh,
the Muladhara chakra, that Batuk Bhairav, Krishna, and Akshobha Bhairav, all that lower containers. So once we prepare our lower containers, right, we'll be able to create that bigger container of pure silence in a better manner.
oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So that's value in actually developing your like the so-called
Mm.
lower container. I suppose actually the container of the kind of energy that is closer to the gross physical experiences. Is that right? Such
Yeah.
as the Muladhara frequency or the Swadhisthana frequency, and you can, yeah, you can.
Mm.
So when you're actually chanting the Ganapati mantra, the Ujjista Ganapati mantra, or the Muladhara mantra, uh,
Mm.
what's actually happening? What's actually happening? Like, there's something about Ujjista Ganapati, for example, that I find like to have like a lot of special significance because he is the first deity that you chant to. To me, it symbolizes like he is the guardian of the path. Maybe you even mentioned it at some point actually that he is there to open and remove the obstacle to the path for you. But at the same time, it's also paired with the Buddha like Shakti,
Mm.
the Kundalini. So what um, what is what does actually what does clearing or cultivating the Buddha container actually means, or the in
Huh.
a more I wonder if you could put it in a more physical or psychological terms for people.
Um, So Ganapati is like the one who represents like the desire for, see, the Tripura Bhairavi represent the desire for food, right? So after we eat the food, we feel satisfied. So that
Mm,
is what Ganapati represents. Like if you see Ganapati's stomach, it's like huge, huge
yeah,
belly. It's like a
yeah,
very
yeah.
fat deity. Is. So what it means is he has eaten the food. He has eaten the food and he's satisfied by it. So that is why he is fat. That is because he represents
Right,
the
right.
desirelessness after eating the food. That dimension where we are satisfied with food, right? That is what Ganapati represents. The satisfaction that comes from the
Oh,
food.
right, right. Yeah, I remember that. Like the cessation of that, or the satiation of the desire, and something that
Yeah,
goes into silence. Uh,
true.
yeah, is that right? Actually, so um,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's not just about control or contain, isn't it? It's a kind of uh, because they're not really separate. I imagine because all forces have rhythm,
Hmm.
have moments where they start and then they stop, and have
Hmm.
initiation and cessation. So it's really about, is it just about balancing those forces in the chakra? And how is that different to transcending them actually?
Huh. That's the thing. See, the best way I can explain that is by giving the example of our mom and dad. So, we, the children of our parents,
Mm,
have the properties of both our mom and dad. So, if you
yeah,
see some relatives will be telling, you look like your mom, you look like your dad, your nose is like your dad, your smile
yeah,
is like your mom. So
yeah.
we tell that. So what it means is we have the features of both our mom and dad. Similarly, the humans that have descended from the higher realms to the earthly realm have the properties of all the deities. So the deities are like the multidimensional parents who represent the desire and desireless forces of the existence, the structure of the universe, basically, the how the
Mm,
universe is created by the causal being. So the Vishnu uses these desire and desireless forces, like he assigns it. That is. In a different universe there is no there are different set of causal beings who who create different set of deities. So this in this universe, this causal being has created the universe in this structure, that is structure called as the Kundalini, with seven chakras, with the and each chakra having its own desire and desireless forces. So
mm,
and these desire and desireless forces being governed by the deities in the higher realm. So all this is being structured in the causal realm by the Vishnu himself. So the Vishnu is assigning the roles, and finally,
mm,
once we descend, right, we come to the earthly realm, the humans. Humans are like the children who have all the properties of the multidimensional parents, and in other universe it's completely different altogether. That is, they might have 18 chakras or 4 chakras, or they might have different names of the deity. We don't even know what kind of deities the other universe has.
mm.
And like even to talk about other universe is like a foolish play. So because we have not
Yeah.
yet explored our own universe. That is,
Mm,
our own universe has its own causal planets, astral planets. Only after experiencing our universe we can talk about other universe, because uh, we'll be able to see at least what is there in the other. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So right now our job is really just to, at least at the beginning of this sadhana journey, to balance all
Mm.
this chakra, so, and slowly allow the kundalini to rise, so that
Yeah.
we can at least go beyond our current level of consciousness, and we can expand our knowledge in this in this universe.
We are just contacting the developers. So these are like the developers of the game, that is the deities, right? They are like the
Mm.
developers of the game. We are just contacting the developers of the game just to tell them that I think I'm done with it. That is, we are
Mm.
just telling them, I think I'm over this plane. Can you please promote me to the other plane?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a sort of very handy way of looking at it. Yeah.
Mm,
Um, yeah. So can we talk a little bit more about like Kundalini awakening? Actually, you said like
mm,
usually in the Anahata chakra
mm,
months when people are chanting those mantras, um, a lot of people have spontaneous Kundalini awakening. Um, for me, I have always found my. But here's, I guess, a question that I would really love to ask. Actually, since I was very little, I don't know
mm,
why. Actually, uh, I've always wondered, but no one could really give me a proper answer. Like
mm,
you see my forehead, right? Usually we won't feel anything until like there's a physical contact on our skin. That's
mm,
that's what a tactile sense is, right? You need touch and
mm,
contact in order to generate, I suppose, like a nerve signal to send to our brain, and then it interprets it and it tell you that right, that's a contact because there's pressure, force landing on skins. But for me, since I was very little, I realized that like anyone would only have to put their finger like at around here, right?
mm,
Maybe even like a little bit further away, and I would start feeling like a lot of pressure up
mm,
around here. Uh, it would work with object, but especially when like a living being do this, I always know
mm,
because it would feel as almost as strong as someone actually touching me with a physical finger, something like that. And sometimes I would ask other people to do it. So it's not actually just me interpreting my, like my subconscious knowledge of like my body part positioning. It really
mm,
is. It feels as if like up in here I have a maybe an overdeveloped sensitivity, but on the other
mm,
hand, around here in my heart area, I but first of all, I find it quite difficult to feel my own emotion for a very very long time. It's not really something that I feel very very easily. I could feel emotions, right? I have to. I work as a mental health professional. I need to at least understand other people's feelings. But when it comes to my own feelings, it often feels as if there's a block. So I have this
mm,
interesting kind of juxtaposition of an oversensitive senses up here, and
mm,
sometimes also I think it also translates to, and especially in my more recent years after becoming an adult, I've noticed that I have a lot of intuitive knowledge.
mm,
For example, I work with a lot of people who tell me problems, about their
mm,
personal lives, and and oftentimes all they need to say is a few words, and
mm,
suddenly I would experience their life as if I'm stepping into their shoes, and I've had a rather a quite accurate sense of what they're talking about. And I would sometimes say things, and people more than often, quite often um, would tell me like would ask like, oh, it sounds like you've been there or something. Why do you know
mm,
this? But at the same time, I find it really really hard to open my heart to feel. So I I would say a little bit like overly developed here sometimes, but very underdeveloped in the heart area. So so I find the intellectual or knowledge or jnana yoga approach to to spirituality very attractive, but the devotional aspect very unattractive in the past at least. Is I have to say, like since I started chanting the Nama mantra, that has changed because I had a few times when I
mm,
felt like a very natural opening of my heart, and I started crying, and I felt like as
mm,
if I was, I finally realized there's something missing, or I've been
mm.
separated from something very dear to me. But how would you explain that in this um, in a more kind of yogic perspective? Actually, is this a thing? Like, have you heard people talking about, like you're oversensitive as if my subtle body could feel some stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm dreaming about it. I'm just making this up. But there is a very clear kind of profile of sensitivity across the different chakras that I can, at least personally, really tell the difference of.
Yeah, it's all about the previous life sadhana. That is, if we have done some previous life sadhana such that our Ajna chakra is awakened, right? What happens is we try to protect the energy. That is, it's like we are trying to protect ourselves from foreign bodies. That is, like, for example, if someone is like pointing here, pointing a finger in near your Ajna, uh, it creates like a painful sensation, right? As if
Mm,
someone wants to pierce it. Even though they don't want to pierce it, they just want to hold their finger. We feel like someone is trying to attack us, and that's why I think it's like body's own mechanism to protect itself, and it gives that uh, feeling of pain so that we will be able to protect ourselves from the attackers. And it's just like flinching, like if someone is trying to hit us, we flinch, right? Like
yeah.
and also uh, it
Mm,
happens in actually it happens in all the chakras. But it depends upon which chakra is dominant inside you. So for some people it happens for Ajna chakra, for some Anahata, for some uh, Vishuddha, and it happens for different people in different chakra. But usually, most of the spiritual people, I guess, it happens in the Ajna only because of the overly active Ajna chakra.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Interesting, actually. And which part of me is actually sensing that? Is it like the more subtle layer of my body, like the energy, like
Mm.
the prana body, or is it the layers in between? Uh,
It's usually the astral and physical body. The astral body is like more of emotion and intellect, but I think it's the physical body itself. That is, the physical body is trying to protect the chakras in the causal. So the deepest roots of our chakra is there in the causal body, but the the physical body is trying to protect that by creating the painful sensation.
right, right. Interesting. Yeah, yeah. Because I've actually met someone in the past who
Mm,
told me that she literally cannot bear anyone touching her stomach area. She
mm,
feels so vulnerable there,
mm,
and and I haven't thought about that in such a long time. But now this conversation is bringing this back. That should actually protect it, like like it. There's a raw, open wound there all the time. Um,
mm,
and I could make the connection between that and like my sort of forehead, third eye area, and and it's quite inexplicable, isn't it? Like so you're saying that is the physical body's interpretation of
mm.
uh, something deeper than the physical, like maybe go all the way as deep as the causal body being intruded,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, no, the pain is related to the physical itself. So the physical body tries to protect the astral and causal body. Even though astral and causal body don't feel pain, it doesn't feel pain. Astral body is more of the emotion and intellect, whereas causal is more of the desire forces, where all the Mahavidyas are present. And
yeah.
but the physical body is trying to protect it by creating the painful sensation to just signify the it signify itself that you have to protect yourself from the foreign bodies who is trying to touch your ajna chakra or whatever.
Mm, mm. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Uh, what about for people who come to ask you, what can I do to open my heart a little bit more? Like what can I do to allow my anahata chakra to become more open and uh,
Mm.
open, especially to the influence of like the higher forces.
Uh, I think it's more to do with the losing the worry, because all the anahata is the biggest blockage in anahata is dhumavati. That is dhumavati,
Mm,
right? She contains all our negative emotions, in the sense like the sadness of losing a loved one, the fear of losing a loved one, the depression after losing a loved one, disappointment of betrayal by a loved one. All the
mm,
negative emotions are pent up in the Dhumavati section of Anahata, and the thing is, we are trying to avoid those feelings. That is, usually
right.
every person tries to avoid that, because they don't want to deal with that. They don't want to feel that energy, because they feel that it's negative, and it will ruin their life or something. So they carry that energy of Dhumavati all lives. That is, she's carried on to every life, and that's why people face the same thing again and again. They don't resolve their issues, they just suppress it, and it stays there. So the only way to explore that is to connect with Dhumavati herself. That is the one who represents that energy only. We are trying to connect with that causal entity, um,
Mm, mm,
and, and just trying to explore, why am I sad? Why am I running away from my own
yeah.
fear, my sadness? So that time when we introspect, right, while chanting that Dhumavati mantra, that time slowly the depression, like it, what to say, unveils itself, and
Right,
uh,
right,
unravels. Yeah. So it unpacks basically all the suppressed emotions, and finally you'll be able to accept yourself for who you are. Currently we don't accept ourselves. That is, we fear ourselves. That is why we create nightmares out of those fears. That is why the day we make our mind and body our own friend, that is the day when anahata gets activated.
right, right. That's yeah, that's very, very important. Actually, I really need to think a bit more about that. Actually. So, when you talk
Mm,
about connecting directly with Dumavati, it brought to mind for me another question. Um,
mm,
so, when you call to, obviously Dumavati is one aspect of Kali,
mm,
isn't she? Or is like she's one of the deity in the Anahata chakra, right? So the forces of Dumavati, just like any of the other Mahavidya. They pervade through the entire humanity or the cosmos. So the energy is there, manifesting themselves in different ways, in different grades and range of consciousness or experiences through our
mm,
lives. Uh, for me, like for me, it might be the sorrow about X, or and then for some other people, it might be the fear of Y. So they are
mm,
there, but when we are connecting with their original forms, so so when we're chanting this mantra, we're trying to invoke the principle that governs all of them.
mm,
Am I right? Like, uh, so I'm getting a sense that whether or not we chant this mantra, we try to awaken ourselves to approach this deity directly. They're there anyway. They
mm,
are, and they have their own movement, their operations, uh, and
mm,
they are probably moving the entire cosmos through cycles of evolutions.
mm,
Anyway, but when we are chanting them, what are we actually doing? Are we invoking them so that we speed this up, the cycle of evolution up within our own individual like
mm,
spheres? So we jump, like break ranks from the slow evolution of the cosmos into the
mm.
fast lane, like we create a fast cycle of evolution of the individual. Is that what we're doing actually? So is that what it means
Mm,
to connect with Dumavati, which is to say, uh, please help me know your true nature, or the
mm,
or the universal aspect of this tiny
mm,
individual depression that I have, and so that I know the love and the true phases of what this
mm,
that exists in my little self. So,
mm.
is that what it is, or is that the right way to understand it?
Yeah, the best way to interpret Mahavidyas is by considering them as the raw materials of the universe. That is,
Mm,
Vishnu. Vishnu is a dreamer. So who is the dreamer? We are all the dreamers.
mm,
Me, you, all the characters, animals, plants, birds, insects, all the living biotic beings, right, on Earth, along with the beings in the lower planets, along with the beings in the higher planets, all the term, all the beings with the terminology being uh,
yeah.
are the dreamers who are using the raw materials, that is the Mahavidyas, to dream. Without Mahavidyas, there is no uh, raw material for dreaming. So, see, basically, what is a dream? So, dream requires some kind of desire. Without any desire,
Mm,
there can't occur any dream. Only if we have the desire for sex, have the desire of food, have the desire of money, fame, power, love, speech, thinking, existing. Only if we have these sets of desire, we have the motivation to dream, the raw materials to dream, and that is what Vishnu does. Vishnu, we are all collective dreamers. That is, the reality exists for us because we are all collectively dreaming on Earth. And the
yeah.
reason the higher planets exist is because all the deities like Krishna, Ram, Jesus, and um, all the enlightened beings are dreaming in the higher planes of existence. That is why the
Yeah.
higher planes of existence exist, those higher planets like Bhuva, Swaha, Mahajana, Hiranyaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, Vaikuntaloka. Those planets exist because someone is dreaming very strongly there. And the reason Earth is existing is because we are dreaming collectively and strongly. So
Right.
now our goal is to evolve, to go to the higher planets like Hiranyaloka or the astral planet. So to go there, we have to know the basic structure of the creation, basic elements, the raw materials of creation. Once we get in touch with the raw material, we will be able to change the dream. That is, to a better dream, to a more advanced dream. Uh, that is how we
Mm,
can evolve.
right. 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 By dreaming, I guess. I suppose another way to express dreaming is the word creating. So we're collectively creating our world, our
Mm,
the world in our experience. But we can evolve and we can create a better world, at least in our own experiences, and collectively maybe in the larger
mm,
in a larger scale. And that's the path of evolution. Yeah.
mm,
And and these raw materials that you talked about, they are mm, well, I suppose they are. Would the word principle be the right word to describe them? Uh, if I want to really understand, but I suppose I can't really understand them until I truly experience them. But
mm.
if we could take it to the edge of what language can describe, uh, is the word
Uh-huh.
principle the best way to think about them? Like they're just like this
Mm,
governing forces, or they're bigger and freer than that actually,
mm,
because another way to think about it might be that because they're not necessarily bound by their own principle either, because these are deities that we're talking about, right? They are free to create
mm,
whatever they want. So
mm,
there are I got a sense that there's a certain higher nature that we're trying to touch, which
mm,
of which we are a tiny reflection of, or
mm,
so we're not separate from them really. So when we're connecting with our own Dhamavati, or we're connecting with our own Bhuvaneshwari, we are we're trying to, well, like, just open up a little, like, the tiny bit of our own sorrow to what is it that is actually catching that,
mm,
and and transforming that.
mm. Uh, I would think it like if you see a Vishnu, right? Vishnu
Yeah.
bows down to both Vishnu, Shiva, every male deity, right? when Shodashi comes, when Lalita Tripura Sundari comes, everyone bows down to her. So if you
Yeah.
see in the picturization, in the pictures, visuals and all, every male deity bows down to the female deity because the female deities are like the mothers. So the
Mm.
mothers who represent the raw material. Because without those mothers, there's no dreaming, right? So what it means is um, like even when we are inside womb, right? Even when we are inside the womb of our mother, uh, we use her. We use all the things she does. That is, whatever she eats, we use it. Whatever
Oh
she
yeah.
breathes, we use it.
Yeah.
Whatever we, yeah. So to stay alive inside that womb, we use all the mother's body. And similarly, even the Vishnu um, that is dreaming is inside the womb of Tripura Sundari, and he's using all her raw materials. That is the
Oh,
Mahavidya.
okay. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And we are a tiny Vishnu ourselves, aren't we?
Mm,
So I suppose like all the stuff that got percolate down to this from the source
mm,
is, yeah, in a way the material with which we are creating our lives.
mm,
Okay, yeah, yeah, I like that actually. This is the mother the mother baby
yeah.
metaphor. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thanks. This is a. I mean, I love this actually because there's no way to like really understand. But sometimes I get the sense that although the direct experience comes only with deep practices, having a right view, like a right idea, is
Mm,
like it helps the mind pivot
mm,
itself in the right direction, and somehow with the right direction, it it allow the mind organizes the not just the attention but also our energy as well as our body to also move in the right direction. There has been more than once when my sadhana got a bit stuck, and I allow
mm,
myself to imagine
mm,
just using my mental faculties. I'm not like that my energy wasn't there or my physicality was definitely not there, but I was just like allowing myself to imagine what it'd be like to have gone to the other side of that barrier.
mm,
And suddenly it felt as if there's a bit of an uplift and a
mm,
freeing from that barrier. Like the
mm,
mental body, like the
mm,
manomaya kosha, were actually organizing the pranamaya kosha and
mm,
organizing the anamaya kosha,
mm,
and they go into like a slightly higher degree of harmony, or some at least temporarily, and you break through, and suddenly you feel oof, like oh that's a um
mm,
well like I've overcome something, and the
mm,
other day I was just thinking about this, and I thought, isn't this what they talk about happening all the time when you use to believe to change your life, or when people experience the placebo effect and attain some spontaneous healing, right? It's
mm,
like when you have a deep belief in an idea, suddenly it organizes so
mm,
much in the body and create a result that if you are a I don't know, like a biological scientist trying to come up with like a bunch of drugs to emulate that process, it will take you, I don't know, like take the most powerful supercomputer like a few
mm,
decades to achieve actually. Um,
mm,
do you know what I mean? Sometimes, like when you're talking about, just like when you're giving me this mother baby metaphor, it's like oh, it clicked, and then suddenly something unblocks, and then organize the different
mm.
layers of our being. Have you? Is this like a known phenomena in the sort of yogic traditions, or in the
Uh,
like the different layers of our body, like kind of the higher
uh,
layers of body organizes the lower ones actually, and
huh, yeah. It's like a construct that is like descending. That is, we construct the layer of happiness, then the layer of emotion, then the layer of no first the layer of happiness, then the layer of intellect, then the emotion, then it's the layer of that sustenance, like regarding air and water, and
Yeah, yeah.
finally the pranamaya kosha, that is the with food and all that stuff. So nutrition, basically the layer of nutrition. So why do we do that? So the reason we do that is to uh, play hard to get. So like I think I told this in some previous video that this physical realm is like is a realm of playing hard to get. And
Right.
because we already in the Anandamaya Kosha, we don't require anything. That is, we don't require food, we don't require sex, we don't require anything. The body is Ananda, that is happy on its own. The causal
Oh,
body
right,
is
right. Oh,
happy
that's
on
what you
its.
mean by the happiness,
Uh,
the bliss. Is that right? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, I continue. Yeah. And what happened?
yeah. So it's happy on its own without any external requirements.
Yeah,
Even if you throw that Anandamaya Kosha, that is the causal body, like on a deserted island, and um, with no food, no water, no people, no love, no nothing, just naked Anandamaya Kosha. It is happy on its own. So what it means is we descend from that kosha to the lower koshas. So the lower
mm.
koshas are like the kosha of playing hard to get. It's like when you eat food, you get what to say, a blast of dopamine. When you
Yeah,
have sex, you get that pinch of dopamine, and every chakra gets its own pinch of dopamine, due to which we we sustain this dream. See, for the dream to continue, there must be a motivation, and for that motivation
yeah.
there must not have a complete bliss. If someone gets complete bliss, the dream stops. For
Mm.
example, let's say I take a human and I give him everything what he wants, like everything, food, water, everything, all the happiness, all the dopamine that I can give.
Oh,
He will not be there in this realm anymore, because he has reached the ultimate bliss that he can attain in this realm, and he disappears from the realm. So the
oh, right,
physical
right.
realm continues, the dream continues because of the pinches of dopamine, because of the small hits of dopamine.
Right, right.
If this dream had infinite hit of dopamine, continuous 24 into 7 hit of dopamine, the dream would fail, the dream would
Right,
stop.
right. Oh, we only
So
create because of the imperfect satisfaction of desire. Yeah, because there's this
yeah,
continuous desire. Is that
yeah,
what you?
like
Yeah.
for example, when I gave this example in previous also,
All
that
right.
Da Vinci, like when he creates a painting, so
Yeah.
the painting will be beautiful if he uh, if he paints with all the colors like blue, pink, yellow, orange, red. So he paints with like Mona Lisa, for example, let's say. So she has a head, she has a neck, body, clothes, and all that stuff. So it's like imperfection. However, it has meaning.
Mm.
If he wanted to do a perfect painting, he would have painted full picture with complete black color or complete
Mm.
white color.
Right,
So
right, right,
that complete white color is Anandamaya Kosha,
right, right.
whereas the complete black color is the Shiva, that is the vibrationless state where
Wow.
it's
Okay.
everything is zero. So
Okay.
what I mean by this thing is the truth is Shiva, the truth is the Anandamaya Kosha, but uh, we come to this realm of painting, the realm of stories. For example, when we write a story, we write such that the hero uh, first the heroine doesn't love him, then the hero tries to impress her, then the heroine starts to fall in love with the hero, and all that storyline, right? Where lot
Yeah.
of
Other.
sorrow, and someone dies in the story, like some
Yeah.
guy dies, and he he goes to depression, and the heroine tries to save him from the depression, and they fall in love, and all that drama. So this physical realm requires that drama to sustain. So without that drama, there is no dream. So that is what dreaming is for, to create drama.
Right, right. That's interesting. Oh, no wonder. So does that mean the more, the higher of the more high up your consciousness is able to access, uh, the more simplified the lower kosher would become. Is that what you mean by that? Actually, because it is only when the desire remain very unfulfilled and life is very complicated that we get tied down to the lower operation of the physical realm, the anamamaya kosher. But if you, yeah, it's like if you're like a medical scientist or you're a pharmacologist trying to come up with a
Mm,
drug, it takes you
mm.
like 20 years of research just to change the brain's chemical a little bit, you know. Uh, but at the same time, you can just meditate for 3 hours. If you can go very, very deep, you can change your brain chemicals completely to the precision that the scientists would take like decades to achieve. It's because up there, like um, when you can access that level of consciousness, it means that a lot of the lower level design would have already been transcended and worked through. And to influence the lower being, like the work become a lot simpler. And
Uh,
I don't know if I'm like speaking clearly enough actually, or um,
uh, the thing is, the physical medicines that we have right in today's world, that the modern science creates, it's out of pure ignorance. That is, they create by thinking that they can influence the brain structure and all that stuff. But deep down, they are not doing anything. That is, they are just numbing the part which is creating. So, for example, let's say a person is has gone through like a very heartbreaking breakup, and he wants to not feel that. So, if he takes some
yeah,
medicine, right?
yeah,
That part of the part which is feeling sad will be numbed down for a few days, and for it to
yeah,
continue he has to take the medication for like continuously, such that the Dhumavati, that is the one who is feeling the pain, will get numbed down. So Dhumavati is just numbed down. It is not gone away. It is just numbed
mm,
down. So when he stops taking the medication, that whatever problem he suppressed will come out again. So he never tried to resolve it on his own. So what I'm saying is all the physical realm of medication is just uh, suppressor. It never resolves, it just suppresses. And to
mm,
actually resolve it, we have to go to the Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. We have to get answers from the Anandamaya Kosha. So the answer that you get from Anandamaya Kosha is the same thing. That is, you are living in a dreamlike structure which requires drama in the sense uh, highs and lows. So this drama requires highs and lows. Without highs and lows, it would be Anandamaya Kosha itself. But you have come down to this realm for playing this drama, and that's why you're just playing the drama for out of fun. That the thing is, I have mentioned in previous video that the actors have forgotten that they're acting.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah,
so it's like the creators themselves, that is the Vishnus, have forgotten that they have gone inside their own creation. It's like Da Vinci entered Mona Lisa's
yeah,
painting, and he's spending time with Mona Lisa inside the painting, and he's creating his own set of depression and
mm,
happiness inside the painting. But we have to slap that Da Vinci and tell, you are the creator. You created Mona Lisa. Come out of the painting and just see the painting. Don't try to experience it.
right, right, okay, okay. And these highs and lows, that we wrongfully identify with,
Mhm.
like It sounds to me like you're just saying that they are the dualities that we get caught up in life. Actually,
mm,
when we're able to step back and say, well, we've done this so many times before. It always end up the same, and it's just going round and round and round. Suddenly, you realize that they are not a good or bad, and then in that moment, you you suddenly leave them behind,
mm.
and then they become simplified,
Yeah.
and you transcend. At least in that moment, you do.
Hi. Yeah. Actually, the thing is, previously I was talking about vibrationless, and
Yeah.
I think I made a grave mistake by uh, telling many people that vibrationless consciousness is the uh, original thing. But what I realized was there are two types of Shiva. That is, one is the vibrationless Shiva, which is devoid of vibration, which is devoid of Shakti. So when the vibrations stop, for example, during sleep, right, we feel tired, and we lower the vibration, and we go to a state where nothing exists. That is, um, the ego doesn't exist, the awareness doesn't exist, nothing exists. So that is vibrationless Shiva. But there is
Mm.
another type of Shiva called as uh, infinite vibration Shiva. That is, when the Shakti vibrates at infinity, right? What happens is there is something called as click out phenomena. So what
Sorry,
it means is
what phenomena?
click out phenomena.
Decode,
Click out.
click out.
Yeah, click out.
Huh.
So like I'll show the diagram. The problem is I didn't mention this in most of the individual videos. I started learning about it recently. It's called
Right.
as
That's very interesting. Infinite vibration versus zero vibration.
yeah. Wait, where is it? Wait, I'll search the image where I can
Yeah.
show it. Spirituality concepts.
Is this the one?
Yeah, this it's called as wait. Yeah, it's visible, right?
It's visible.
Uh,
Yes, 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 yes. Very interesting. Um,
wait. Uh,
okay. Right. Let me. Oh, I can't assume. It's. I can see some sine waves on the graph.
right. Maybe this. Yeah. Now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see.
See.
Like the text is a bit hard to read. I think I can see the
Yeah.
different
So this is
um
the. This is where I'll lower the
shapes.
brightness more. Okay. Now it's visible. Yeah. Now it's visible.
Oh, I can see that. I can see that now. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So the thing is, we are in this part of the vibration. See, our brain, right? Our
yeah.
brain is like continuously vibrating,
Mm,
and during sleep it lowers the vibration. We go to the delta delta frequency, and finally we go to zero Shiva. And another is like increasing the vibration. That is when we are doing sadhana, right? When we are increasing the awareness, what happens is uh, it goes, the vibration goes to the infinity. But when it changes the direction, there is a phase of potential energy. So it's like
mm,
the when the wave changes the direction like this. So
yeah.
there is a click out phase where it tries to gain the potential energy. So again, it comes down because it has kinetic energy. It's like going like
Oh,
this,
okay,
like this.
okay. So at the point where it starts to when
Hmm.
the wave turns in that
Hmm.
sort of pivoting phase
Hmm.
where it remains where
Hmm.
it remains a potential,
Hmm.
not yet manifested, because it
Hmm.
start manifesting it when it actually comes down or go up, right? Is that the click caught phase?
Yeah, correct. So the
Right.
middle part of the wave is the kinetic, whereas the
Yeah.
clicked out, the end part of the wave is the potential where it clicks out. So that is the Shiva we are aiming for in the meditation protocol. That is while doing Shakti sadhana, right? We are Shakti sadhana means we are increasing the vibration to infinite level where
Right.
we experience the click out phenomena in a very strong manner. The thing is we are experiencing the click out phenomena even right now, but it is,
Clicked out phenomena.
yeah,
Oh, right. Even right now, yes, yes, yes. And then,
but that is only for few milliseconds. That is, we experience it for very few minuscule of a second, and due to which we don't bother about it. So
mm,
we experience the witness consciousness every minuscule, but we don't bother about, because the major part of the wave is in the manifested consciousness.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Major part of the wave is inside the drama. uh,
yeah. Uh.
and that's why what we are doing is we are increasing the wave to a max level where we experience the click out phenomena for a longer time. That is, we realize that we have the witness consciousness for a longer time.
Right, right, right. Oh, actually, this is getting really interesting. So what's I suppose it's almost impossible to define the difference between zero vibration and infinite vibration, right? But when we're at the peak of the wave and that click caught phase in the
Hmm.
waveform,
Hmm.
uh, so what are we like in terms of brainwave? Are we in the high gamma or something like that, or are we, or is this what infinite awareness or consciousness is?
Uh, yeah, the thing is, if we open our eyes and if we for example go for a run or a jog or something, we stay in that gamma range, right? A gamma range of what is that,
Mm.
maybe 20 20 to 100 hertz brainwave. So we stay in that gamma range, but uh, we are going beyond the gamma. That is, in the click out phenomena we are trying to go beyond the gamma, but we are not opening the eyes, because if we open the eyes, then we would be dancing on the street. So we are not opening the eyes, we are just closing the eyes and increasing the vibration, so that the consciousness finally pops out of the physical realm.
Which is this is fascinating because um, for like more like for 15-20 years I've been doing the silent meditation like as taught in the Buddhist tradition. I suppose that's closer to the Shunya sadhana, which aims for the zero vibration, right? And I actually have found it extremely hard to achieve. Like no matter
Mm,
what, how unless I shut myself up in a retreat, not talking for 10 days, or I do hours and hours of it, uh, it's very hard to attain even more than a few seconds of that. And as soon as I go back to interacting with people and my personality comes back online,
mm,
it's gone. It's gone. But when I'm chanting this Shakti sadhana, this mantra, there have been many times when I would be using the jap mala and I was just going one beat after another, and then suddenly I would feel as if I want like something takes over and my attention goes in, and even the finger movement that is like just going through the beat would stop,
mm,
and something would take over as if like something with an increasingly high frequency would take over and I would go into a trance actually.
mm,
And and because it's a little bit scary, so far I haven't actually been able to sustain it for very long. And every time I try to expand and just try to contain it, it will very
Mm,
quickly hit a limit, and it will come out. It's like, whoa, what is this? And physically, I feel it as though those bubbles of energy that comes up. Actually, but I
mm,
wonder if in time I develop my capacity to contain, and I can actually allow them to go higher and higher and higher. I actually wonder where that would go. And intuitively, it sounds a little bit like I'm actually increasing my vibration,
mm,
uh, like like accelerating the waves
mm.
to a point where I don't know what that's going to do or take me to. But subjectively, it feels very much like resonating with what you're trying to describe. And I don't know if that's what it is, but um, yeah, but it's very interesting.
Exactly. That is when you increase the vibration, right? You will start receiving all the frequencies, not only the of the physical, but also the astral and causal. So that is what Turiya state is. Turiya
That's
state is
Turiya,
when,
yeah,
yeah, when we receive all the frequencies, and we go to a state of knowing all, the knower of all.
oh,
We remember
okay,
everything. We become almost the creator. We go back to the creator phase. I tell, right, the home screen. So the home screen is where we are able to go to any channel of the
oh, that's the home
TV.
genre. Right, right.
Yeah.
Oh, no wonder, because what comes before Turiya, is it the Shushupti or is it Shwapana? Like it's like the zero state, isn't it? And then you go to Turiya. Like in the
Uh,
traditional teaching, you have those four states, right? So you go from like day-to-day vibration to lower and lower and lower vibration, and then you go to this infinite vibration. Is that what you mean? Like, um,
no, the sushupti is when we sleep. That is when we become tired, and that is a different kind of Shiva. That is the Shiva who turns off the TV, who switches off the TV. That is, he
yeah.
switches off all the channels. Netflix, Hotstar, all the channels he switches off. No home screen also. When you switch off the TV, there is no home screen also. So it's completely zero,
Mm,
zero hertz. But Turiya is not that. Turiya is more like the home screen or the Anandamaya Kosha, where it's like uh, uh, it's like infinite vibration, and in that infinite, so what it means is Shiva is there in all the wave. He's there in all the wave. That is, uh,
mm,
even in that clicked out phase is there. So the thing is, in my previous videos, right, I never mentioned this. That is, I thought, even I was not like very firm with the uh, like, I thought I was firm, but now I'm questioning myself. That is, the knowledge that I got might have been incomplete. That is,
mm.
two types of Shiva. That is, one is the one who switches off the TV completely, but there is another type of Shiva where even in the Shakti, even inside Shakti, he is there. He is there in that small end
Right,
of the wave.
right, right. So basically, that's Shiva, and the wave itself in the ups and down is Mahashakti.
Yeah,
Uh,
the middle
is
part.
the
Yeah,
middle part, yes, which is all creation, of course, like all manifested, all of
yeah,
manifested universe. Actually. Okay,
yeah, correct.
yeah, yeah. Again, this is very helpful because now I could once again, it is like there's an idea that inspires, and then it feels like it gives me a new wave of inspiration or understanding that allows me to, I guess, in that moment,
Mm,
suspend the resistance of those experiences a little bit more. Because although this
mm,
is a not precise description, but it is like a beautiful poetry. So it points to a reality that says, well, it's a little bit like that. So when you get there, you can you can relax, you can allow yourself to let go a little bit more into it, and yeah, hopefully, and but when I get a little bit of those experience again, I can go slightly deeper just through remembering this.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
These concepts help in understanding the universe in a scientific manner. But the thing is, the scientific manner also has its own limitation. That is, it's of no use when it comes to experiencing it. So for experiencing these things, it is these knowledge is not so much useful. For
Yeah,
experiencing it, you have to know your own cup of tea, and
yeah.
this is for the scientific minds who want to stay in the physical realm and still decipher the nature of universe. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much. Actually, like, I suppose these are the kind of experiences when I get to understand a little bit more that makes me
Mm,
or helps me believe or develop my own faith in this whole
mm,
version of the universe more and more. Actually, that
mm,
when I put myself into this state, especially when I just chant the names of the
mm,
deity and try to concentrate with that intention, something actually respond as if they're reaching down to lift
mm,
me up a little bit. Um, but at a pace that was much faster than
mm,
when I was just using and relying on my own effort. Yeah.
mm.
Um, yeah. Well, thank you so much. Actually, I
Uh,
just want to say that again. Actually, yeah. Yeah.
mm. No problem. So, do you have any end credits to to tell to the audience before we end the session?
Yeah. Any? Um, well, I just want to say it has been such an incredible journey. Actually,
Mm,
it is like you're tapping into spirituality proper. Uh,
mm,
but unfortunately, this is the side of spirituality that's um, very rarely mentioned, or is
mm,
still relatively unaccepted, or by by the um, by the mainstream of the majority of even people who have a spiritual inclination in this current era. Well, maybe it's just because I come from the part of the world where where these things are uh, quite rarely spoken of or not very well known actually. Because when I'm speaking with a lot of the other fellow participants of your group, and a lot of them are from traditional Indian Sanatam tradition, tradition, at least culturally. I find them to have a lot more receptivity to these
mm,
ideas. So maybe that's different. But like but in my own experience, having grown up in the Chinese culture and now living in the UK, and like a lot of the circles that runs around, like even amongst very spiritual people, they find the idea of devotion or deity or like the correspondent to a living entity that's super conscious to be a little bit
mm,
um, beyond the grasp actually, uh,
mm,
and um, like let alone actually talking about professionally. Like sometime I go to this psychological conference and people talk about, oh, let's use meditation to help, like still the mind and create a little bit more mental health. And but they would immediately feel quite apologetic and even a bit shameful. And when they
mm,
try even to mention the Buddhist or the Hindu origin of it, so we have a lot of resistance to it. So
mm,
what I suppose I what I wanted to say before we end the this
mm,
the podcast is a um uh I think it's very important to at least have some openness to it. Actually, I think the
mm,
most honest position to adapt as a sincere person, sincere explorer of the universe, of the truth, uh, a sincere scientific person, even, is to acknowledge that we don't know what we don't know, uh,
mm,
and um, and in that spirit, we have to be open to the mystery,
mm,
and
mm,
and the only way to genuinely be open to it is to allow ourselves to be open or to explore the experiences themselves. And and once we explore the experience, sometimes the experience themselves change us and expand us. Uh,
mm,
I guess in the when we put science into the context
mm,
of the entire cosmos, right? There's modern science is only about 200 years old. There's no way that in 200 years of human development we could claim to understand even the tiniest fraction of the mystery of the entire universe. So it is even though I so far I've only had like a tiny corner of what is potentially possible, but I found myself actually I find my mind blown many times continuously by just
Yeah.
participating. So
Mm,
so I guess if you're asking me if there's anything I want to end this with to talk to audience, it's just, just be don't be afraid to explore and to
mm,
try and to and to ask your deeper self, like, what is your deepest aspirations, and how are you limiting yourself, and yeah,
mm,
that's about it. That's about it.
mm. Believe me, you're the most Indian in India because even Indians, right? Most of the Indians don't believe in
Oh,
spirituality.
really? Okay, yeah, yeah,
So, like,
yeah,
what I'm saying is, after the the colonization, the most of the people are embarrassed or ashamed of their own religion and ashamed of their own culture, the knowledge that it has, the immense knowledge, and uh, I feel like the interest for the curiosity itself is. Uh, the divinity that is in on earth, right? The curious people are themselves divine in nature, and they are uh, trying to understand the universe. And uh, I feel like the knowledge which was there like
yeah,
previously before all the colonization, it was very much valuable for the curious people, and those same curious people are suffering with depression, anxiety, all that, because they are
yeah,
not able to get that knowledge which was suppressed by the uh,
yeah, yeah,
invaders. And the modern science is like just considering um, smallest proof of the five senses, which is not even relevant to understand that universe is a dream. Even Maxwell Planck told that after so much of research in uh, modern science, he realized that the universe is not made of atoms and molecules. Rather, it is made of the mind, that is the dream, the
mm,
observer. And he felt like whatever he did was not significant enough. And that's why that's where the Vedic science kicks in to tell that it is made of the dreamers, that is the Vishnus. So,
mm,
um,
mm,
and I think this knowledge has to reach all that curious minds, and uh, yeah, they finally, so that they can they get that satisfaction of uh, knowledge. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So.
yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, I completely agree. In this age, you
Mm,
have to be quite brave and courageous and original. Like, you have to be a true individual to be able to be genuinely curious. Actually, a lot of the time,
mm,
because most people, like a lot of us, are just encouraged mostly to repeat whatever we've heard somewhere else, and we're not really encouraged to find our own genuine
mm,
experience into these areas. Actually, so yeah, so we're very blessed to have you, and to have genuine teachers
mm,
to yeah, to encourage and support us into these kind of ventures. um
yeah.
yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
before like we end the session, we'll do 5 to 10 minutes of meditation just to awaken the Kundalini a bit.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love to do that.
So yeah. Everyone has to chant Om Krim Mahakalika Nama inside the mind for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I will remind you to open the eyes. You have to sit straight, close your eyes, and start chanting it inside the mind. So 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Now everyone can open their eyes. So, how was the experience?
It's actually despite the background noises. Actually, I think there's a sudden deepening of experience that's quite profound actually. So
Oh,
um,
oh, yeah, there was
it's quite
okay
yeah.
background noise, I guess.
But it's actually helped me understand how deep I was because I felt
Mm,
like as if even though that's playing out in my ears, but
mm,
um, but I had some distance from it, which is very uh,
mm,
yeah, very noticeable. Very noticeable actually.
mm.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, before leaving, what do you have to say to the audience? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, mm,
Thank you for listening. Actually, if you're ever curious, just a tiny bit curious about it, I would I definitely encourage you to give this kind of sadhana a go. They're quite yeah, they're not very much talked about, but it's like a definitely hidden gem if you're at all spiritually inspired.
mm. Yeah. Okay. So, thanks,
And thank you,
Jason,
Aditya.
for
Actually,
yeah. So, yeah, thanks, Jason, for joining this late night. It's night, right, in the UK?
yeah, it is. It's I think it's just
Pardon?
it's just past 7 p.m. Actually. Just past
Oh,
seven
okay,
p.m.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
we're finishing
Thanks
right
for
in
your
time for
time.
dinner.
Oh,
Thank you
okay.
very much. Like it's like
Yeah.
very lovely to talk to you,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Almost
yeah.
like we talked for.
Guruji. Yeah,
Yeah, we almost talked for 2 hours, and thanks for joining, and thanks everyone for joining this live session. We'll
thank you.
meet in the tomorrow's next video with new student, and yeah, Jai Mahakal.
Jai Mahakal.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.
Bye bye.